My husband set his ex-wife's mother up in an assisted living facility. He's been paying $4,200 a month since 2019. I found the invoice in the pocket of his winter coat. My husband and his ex-wife divorced in 2014, 2 years before I met him. He said it had been mutual and clean. No kids, no debt, no complicated aftermath. I believe that because nothing in 6 years of marriage had given me a reason not to. He was honest in the way consistent people are. Same habits, same schedule, nothing that ever shifted without explanation. The winter coat had been in the closet since March. The invoice was from Sunrise Gardens, a facility 40 minutes north. A monthly rate, a due date, a patient name, Margaret Ellison. I pulled 3 years of bank statements that afternoon. The transfers were there, labeled Med CPP, first of every month. I'd seen that line before and assumed it was health coverage. I'd never once asked. I sat at the kitchen table until it was completely dark outside and I hadn't moved. His ex-wife's name was Sandra. He'd mentioned her once in 6 years, said she'd moved to Portland and they'd lost touch. I searched Sandra Ellison that night. Her Facebook came up immediately. Portland, 44 years old. Her About section had one line I read 4 times. Living with ovarian cancer, diagnosed 2018, stage 3. Her last post was 9 months ago. I thought about the phrase lost touch and all the work it had been doing for 6 years. I called my friend Dana. She'd known Marcus before me, had a version of his past I didn't. I said Sandra's full name. She went quiet. I said I knew about the cancer. She said she'd known since 2019, that Marcus had told her when he started helping with Margaret. I asked why Dana hadn't said anything. She said Marcus had asked her not to, said it wasn't a burden I needed to carry. She read me those words like they explained something. They didn't. Marcus came home at 6:15 and I had the invoice on the kitchen table. He set his bag down and looked at it. I asked about Margaret. He said she was Sandra's mother. I asked how long. He said since the diagnosis, that Margaret had no one and Sandra couldn't manage her care while sick. I asked why he'd never said anything. He said he didn't want it to complicate things. I asked which things. He looked at the table, said us. He talked 2 hours. Sandra had called in 2019, first time in 5 years. Her mother needed placement and Sandra couldn't work full-time anymore. He said no at first. Then Margaret was placed somewhere that wasn't right, and Sandra called again. He drove up, saw what was there, and made the call. He said he'd handled it the way he thought I'd want him to. Then he'd realized that telling me would mean explaining everything else first. She'd reached out the week before we got engaged. He'd said the timing wasn't right and cut contact. When the diagnosis came in 2018, she called and he answered. He said he'd thought hard and decided it was right. I asked if it had occurred to him I'd have agreed if he'd just told me. He said he was afraid I'd think he was still attached to her. I asked what $4,200 a month for 5 years was supposed to look like if not that. Sandra died in November. Marcus told me the morning after. He'd gotten the call at 2 a.m. and sat in the kitchen until sunrise. He hadn't known how to wake me for something I didn't know about. I found him at the table at 7. He said her name once before he said anything else. I sat across from him and asked what Margaret knew about me. He said she'd been asking about me for a year. I asked what he'd told her. He said everything. He took me to meet Margaret in January. She held my hand and said he'd talked about me since the beginning. She said Sandra had known my name too, that she'd been glad he had someone good. I sat in that room for a long time. A woman I'd never met who'd known my name. I'm still not sure what to do with that.